In 2000, a skateboard deck caused a stir in the fashion world. It wasn't because of the wood, the wheels, or the shape. It was the print. Supreme had stamped Louis Vuitton's signature monogram across it without any permission. And Louis Vuitton? They did what any billion-dollar brand would do. They sued. For years, that was the end of it. Just lawyers and silence. But then, something strange happened. 17 years later, the same brand that once threatened to bury Supreme invited them onto their runway. So how did a streetwear rebel go from getting sued to getting celebrated? This is the story of how a fashion feud turned into one of the most iconic collaborations in modern style. At the turn of the millennium, Supreme was still that scrappy, fearless skate brand born from New York's underground. While the world chased luxury like a trophy, Supreme took a different path, one that led straight to the heart of the establishment. They released a skateboard deck stamped boldly with the unmistakable Louis Vuitton monogram. It was audacious, a punch to the status quo, wrapped in high fashion iconography. Louis Vuitton did not take it lightly. Their response was swift and merciless. Every deck was ordered to be destroyed, not quietly shelved or returned, but burned, incinerated. The symbol of the skate brand's defiance was reduced to ashes. Supreme bowed out silently, without any public battle or noisy courtroom drama. Instead, their website carried a simple, almost understated message. Recalled after 2 weeks due to lawsuit. It was a subtle nod to a battle fought in the shadows, one that sent a loud message to the fashion world. Streetwear had stepped onto luxury's meticulously manicured lawn, and the old guard was not ready to share the space. Yet, beneath that quiet retreat lay a spark that would not be extinguished. The clash wasn't the end of the story, it was the opening act. Luxury brands had underestimated the power of street culture, a force growing too loud, too bold to ignore. What Louis Vuitton failed to realize was that streetwear wasn't merely a passing trend. It was a cultural movement with its own language, its own rules. The deck might have been recalled and burned, but the conversation it sparked was only just the beginning. Just a year later, the winds began to shift. The once rigid Louis Vuitton started to rewrite its own narrative. Marc Jacobs, the visionary at the helm, reached beyond the polished world of tradition and invited the raw edge of the streets inside. Graffiti artist Stephen Sprouse became the unexpected collaborator. The monogram transformed overnight, splashed with vibrant neon graffiti. It was a visual rebellion inked right onto the symbol of luxury. The walls Louis Vuitton had built around itself began to crack. No longer the untouchable fortress of old money and old rules. The brand was starting to flirt with something wild, untamed. It wasn't limited to fashion anymore. It was about culture, the pulse of the streets, the voice of a new generation. The shift was unmistakable. Rappers like Pharrell Williams and Kanye West, new architects of cool, stepped into the fold. They brought with them an authenticity and swagger that the luxury world craved, but hadn't known how to reach. Their influence blurred the lines between exclusivity and accessibility, luxury and street, old and new. Louis Vuitton was no longer just a bastion of tradition. It was evolving, understanding that cool was a living, breathing thing, impossible to lock behind velvet ropes or sealed within leather-bound books. Cool belonged to the streets, to the rebels, to those willing to rewrite the rules. The monogram had survived its battle with skateboards and lawsuits, but now it faced a far greater transformation. The question wasn't if luxury could coexist with street culture, it was how it could survive without it. By the early 2010s, Supreme had already exploded far beyond its origins as a downtown New York skate shop founded in 1994. The brand grew at a pace that startled even the savviest insiders. What made Supreme unique was how it transformed scarcity into hype. Limited edition drops, turned into global events. Their collaborations read like a who's who of fashion and culture. Nike, in 2002, marked the beginning of a powerful partnership. Then came the North Face, Comme des Garçons, and even artists like Damien Hirst, adding cachet. The box logo tee, simple yet iconic, became a cultural beacon. It was everywhere, from underground rap battles to major red carpets. Tyler, the creator's fearless style, championed the brand's rebellious spirit. Kermit the Frog, his unexpected Supreme apparel, featured in viral memes, cementing the brand's cultural crossover. Even Mike Tyson, a figure from a different generation, sported it, underscoring Supreme's broad appeal. By mid-2010s, Supreme went beyond a skate label. It had become a symbol of status and cool. Their seasonal drops sold out in seconds, crashing websites and igniting queues that wrapped around city blocks worldwide. When Supreme opened a London store in 2010, it caused traffic jams and riots, proving the brand's mass appeal and disruptive power. Supreme stopped chasing high fashion's validation. Instead, luxury brands began seeking collaborations with Supreme to capture its coveted youth audience. What started in the margins moved to center stage. Streetwear was no longer a rebellious fringe. It became the heart of fashion's future. Supreme had evolved from a niche skate brand to a cultural powerhouse, shaping global style. But the revolution wasn't finished. The next chapter would bring an unexpected architect to fuse streetwear and luxury like never before. When Kim Jones joined Louis Vuitton in 2011 as the artistic director of menswear, it wasn't immediately clear what direction the storied house would take. But insiders knew Jones wasn't from the typical luxury mold. He was different, a product of youth, culture, of sneaker obsession, of underground scenes most Paris designers didn't understand. He grew up collecting Nikes, reading The Face magazine, and obsessing over UK streetwear labels like Gimme 5 and Silas. Before Vuitton, he's already made waves blending utility and style at Dunhill and Umbro. And while most of Paris was still trying to preserve tradition, Jones was quietly studying the streets and watching Supreme dominate. In 2016, he made a move. A collaboration with Nike Lab saw Jones rework the Air Zoom LWP. Not flashy, but telling. Here was a Louis Vuitton director actively engaging with sneaker culture. The same year, Jones began drawing more references from rave scenes, vintage sportswear, and London club culture into his Vuitton shows. The aesthetic was shifting. Rappers started showing up at Vuitton's runways. Models wore hiking boots with tailored suits. Techwear began appearing next to leather trunks. He was slowly constructing something new, a bridge between two worlds that had spent decades ignoring each other. And the other side of that bridge, already waiting. In early 2017, whispers started circulating. Supreme's iconic red box logo is spotted, but this time wrapped in Louis Vuitton monogram. At first, no one believes it. Then a photo leaks, a Supreme Louis Vuitton trunk. It's blurry, unconfirmed, and instantly everywhere. Fuel gets added when Louis Vuitton's menswear director Kim Jones uploads, then quickly deletes a photo of Supreme sticker on LV leather. It's subtle, but the message hits loud. This is real. January 19th, 2017, Paris Fashion Week. Louis Vuitton's runway opened with shock. Models step out in Supreme laced monogram jackets, box logo tees, co-branded denim, skate bags, and accessories that feel like fashion fan fiction made real. The collection includes over 50 pieces, from hoodies and leather gloves to Malay Courier 90 trunks stamped with both logos. Prices range from $290 for a bandana to over $68,000 for a trunk. And that's just the start. The launch rolls out through tightly controlled pop-ups, Tokyo, London, Seoul, Miami. Crowds sleep outside. Police shut down lines. City blocks get barricaded. Stock vanishes in minutes. It's less a drop than a cultural supernova. Resale markets explode. T-shirts hit $1,500. Trunks climb into 5 figures. Supreme, once the rebel outsider, is now helping shape Louis Vuitton's future. Fashion had never seen a moment like this, a peace treaty between worlds once at odds, and both sides come out stronger. But what it really triggered was a permanent shift in power. The Supreme Louis Vuitton collaboration really shook things up in the fashion world. In 2000, luxury labels dismissed streetwear as noise, but in 2017, Louis Vuitton had aligned with the most influential streetwear label on earth. Supreme had turned limited edition drops into a business model. Louis Vuitton had turned heritage into youth relevance. The line between luxury and street was now a blur, and the audience loved it. Supreme, once a skate shop on Lafayette Street, was now moving units with a 160-year-old luxury titan. Louis Vuitton, once the gold standard of old money, now sat side by side with the underground cool and looked stronger for it. In November 2017, LVMH CEO Bernard Arnault confirmed that Louis Vuitton had its strongest quarter in years, and much of that heat came from Supreme. What started as a lawsuit had become a strategy, and the world was watching who Louis Vuitton would choose to carry that new legacy forward. So here's the truth. Legends don't follow rules, they break them. A simple box logo and a storied monogram collided, forever changing the face of fashion, proving that sometimes the fiercest rivals make the most powerful allies. In today's ever-evolving world of fashion, the real power move is collaboration. What's your take on this epic fusion? Drop a comment and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into luxury brand stories shaping our culture.